Okay, so this is my first video creating on the channel, which is a new channel, Alison, on Thursday the 5th of June 2025. So it's a sort of fantasy name, Alison, in order to protect my real name, which is Mima. But there's no escape because I found out to my horror, brushing my hair, which has got fluff on it, it's not dandruff, it's fluff from the fluffy thing. Since I have publicised my ceiling in the loft, where the tank had exploded, it's undignified that they left me for a whole month of May. They left me for a whole month of May. It's not in the principle of safety and security, and that is their revenge for my landlord, which is Thrive. And because I publicised it, they got their revenge by attacking my tenancy. And they're so-called forcing me to have a single point of contact so that she could rescue my tenancy. And from this attack, she claims it's the fire safety brigade that came and took care of me during that emergency call-out in Watford area. There were several stations of the fire brigade that came and hoovered up all the floods. And they gave me a positive report. They acknowledged that the candle that I use is battery-operated candle. This is a real candle, but I only use it on special occasions. I mainly use a battery-operated candle, which you put the battery on. They've said that I use many candles. I'm insane in the fire brigade report. I have an electrical blanket, and all these are lies. They said that my home was cluttered. All of this is lies. They overstressed me and overstimulated me with negative attention through my housing to get revenge because I publicised how they're abusing me. And to discover to my horror that the false government has been enabled through the royals. So it's very sad. The actual royals are enabling corrupt politicians and governors connected to Nazism which is not a landlord. And a lot of the stalkers in my of 20 years plus since year 2000, I had stalkers who are connected to fascism, socialism, and extreme hard left and extreme hard right. And they do make horror films, and they do have, and I have a public witness against them, which is my Bible, as a devout Christian woman. How they have been stalking me, prolific stalkers and gang stalkers from one neighbourhood to the next, enabled by Thrive Homes. And they want to remove my civil rights, which they have done, force me to have a single point of contact with Thrive Homes manager. So this is my home here, Thrive Homes. They forced it on me. So originally it started off with a chit-chat regarding a previous relationship management leader who's very bad. She's only been around for a couple of years, called first name Samantha. And they broke their promises, and then they blamed me for the promises that they broke. So outstanding bathroom works for a bad shower since I moved into this property in December 2013. And I've remained ever since into 2025, today's date. And so they had a meeting with me in August, and they discussed everything, that my bathroom needs to be concreted. My bathroom fund for disability was rejected by a surveyor called Andy. They got a new surveyor under the false impression that they were going to help me, whose name was the other one, Jason. And they all betrayed me. So I pointed my finger to the ceiling in August and said, can you check that that it's locked? That loft hatch. I don't have access to the loft hatch. Check the leak. I have brown stains in the ceiling. So all of this could have been prevented 6 months or 9 months prior to the actual emergency. And so it's very malicious that they deliberately ignored the leak, so prevention is better than cause. And therefore, since I felt threatened and that they are deranged and incompetent, that's the reason why I publicise it, to find my friends on social media and find alternative authorities that can enable me to be empowered and enable me to reclaim what the enemy has stolen. So I'm living with the enemy, with this woman called Samantha, oblivious to the fact that she became a devil's advocate. She became my voice. She took away my voice. She now talks on my behalf. And also somewhere in one of her emails she said that she was a communication expert for relationship management with the customer service. So she did the opposite of what she meant. And they came across as very polite, very professional on the surface. But then after dealing with them since August last year until today's date, I realised that this relationship was forced on me. And then they said that after a clean-up to get me back on my 2 feet again, basically to clean up after my rabbit accident that escaped from the cage, and now she has a bigger cage. It's big enough to put an adult in there. She cannot escape from this cage, it's so big. And it had been collapsed, so I had an emergency, and everything was cleaned and tidied, and they paid like £1,000 for that clean-up, which is Grant Us a Smile. And then Putin's a lot, and anyone who supports Putin, had accused me of being a goblin on zoeflora4 at gmail.com. They've stolen that channel, which is a foreign government, and wanted to remove all the evidence of Grant Us a Smile that I have recorded as evidence, and also as a creation, to have creativity of how effectively I am a team player and team worker. So they wanted to remove my credentiality and stole my channel. There's no way I can access it or log in to that particular channel. And so Grant Us a Smile was very, very professional, very friendly, very effective, efficient, and I complimented them 5 stars on the day after my birthday, which was the 16th of September 2024. And I gave them gifts. I gave them brand new sweets, brand new shoes, and gifts. They all took, and they were all dignified and respectful. And I was pleased and satisfied with the service. I gave them compliments online. Well done, Grant Us a Smile charity. So did they do charity with love, with care? Yes, they did. But Thrive Homes is the one who paid them. I did not pay them. As a one-off, which was about £1,000, so I was told. And then they said, we don't have to provide you the receipt. So they disrespected me by not giving me the receipt. They said, oh, we don't have to. You can't force us. I didn't force you. I requested a receipt to remember what Thrive Homes has done for me as a gesture of goodwill. But instead, they wrote lying reports and said that my home was hoarded, it was cluttered, it was dirty, and they ignored my disabilities, which is an extreme discrimination. So I requested it 5 times from this Samantha. She denied me. She then also has a double system, one which internally shows that she's doing her job right, but externally she has a different system from my direct one-to-one, which is the opposite of what she says she claims to do on the internal system. So when the workers arrived here to do the bathroom works, they started working on the windows rather than the floors of the bathroom, which was a messed up, mismanaged communication, deliberately done. They noticed one fly come into the property. They refused to enter because of one fly in the corridor, which comes in through the open windows. They're bullying me and demanding that I shut all my windows in the spring and summer, even though I have a vitamin D deficiency and I'm severely disabled and housebound. I like to have my windows open for fresh air and not to smell dog shit and not to hear slander and effing and blinding people that come by too close to the windows and dog fouling, not picking up after their dogs. I reported it to the council. They then delegated me to the online system where I can complete online forms. They refused to send me physical forms in the paper form. They said I had to do online incident reports of dog walkers leaving dog fouling under the windows. And it's very, very disgusting. And my back goes bent after walking for 25 metres. And it goes floppy and like a hunchback. And they've ignored that. I have to go with her, pick her up a stick like this and pick up the poo under my window. She's not fine. She gets away with it because Thrive Homes has a different rule compared to the council. So if it was in a public footpath, she would be charged and fined. However, since it's not on the public footpath, the land belongs to the landowner, who is Thrive. So when I reported it, this stupid woman, who's supposed to save and rescue my tenancy, and by defraud, is a fraud. She now is overtaking Samantha called Casey, and she's saying that's not antisocial behaviour. It is. She's also saying that wrongly that I have accused some children climbing over the fence, which is something to do with my territory, near the balcony on the back of the building, which is something to do with the building rules. They're breaking their own rules in order to blame me for it and shame me for it, which is something that Donald Trump does, according to the media. He's always blaming somebody else but himself when he makes a mistake. So they're breaking their own rules and then saying, I'm the one who's antisocial for reporting the children being antisocial. And I'm saying, no, I have never reported the children. I reported their parents for allowing them and not cautioning them. And then she went on about that I'm in disagreement with the neighbours' parental style. And I said, no, it's nothing to do with me. I don't know who the neighbours are. I haven't met them. I don't know what they look like. It's your job to find out who they are. I don't know where they live. I can guess where they live because I recorded where the children had gone off to in front of their buildings. And I said, I can understand that it's a football pitch if there was bombs everywhere and we were in Palestine and children are playing outside their front door. Since we're not in Palestine and since it's not World War III, the children do not belong outside at the back of the building playing football. It's not a football pitch. It's okay to do it sometimes, but not excessively so. So the children of the antisocial parents are targeting me, kicking the football. I cannot have any peace. I cannot enjoy sunshine for the first time to absorb that lovely vitamin D. I cannot enjoy the bird song and the beautiful spring summer flowers and the trees and the beautiful breeze on my face because they're constantly yelling and shouting, kicking the ball, playing the ball in the no-zone areas, the bin areas, and the laundry area where you hang your clothes on the era, and they're climbing the fence next to the era. And so I made very brief inquiries with a neighbour below who badmouthed me and reported me and said crazy things about me. And so it's crazy chaos. So for the first time in my life, I spoke to the neighbour. She's reported me as being mad for making inquiries. Are these your children? Do you know who this person is that's walking around leaving dog shite under the windows? So I filmed them because I was making inquiries and had civil rights for self-defence to do so, but they didn't like that. They said they had no permission for me to record them, and I said, well, I have to because I'm being threatened and there's an incident of antisocial behaviour. And they didn't like that, so they reported me. So in this crisis situation, when I did the right thing, I had been condemned by my landlord as if I was doing the wrong thing. So it's a bad management, it's a bad leader, they're in the wrong job. And I did speak to them about that, in reasonable sense. I gave them a good reason. I said I was going to post them the videos that I took and how they were calling me a bitch under the windows by coded language. So it is a hostile environment created me to have trauma, to have tragic, no food money left for after paying the rent so that I'm not in arrears. I'm not in arrears anyway. However, the housing benefit that comes in, it's delayed. So it comes in very slowly. And therefore, it looks like I'm in arrears, when in fact I'm not in arrears at all. It just comes in very slowly, it's delayed. And so that's why I paid as a one-off. So when I come to move home, when I'm good and ready, not when the authorities tell me. So they're causing a trouble to say I have a clean tenancy, I'm not a criminal, so they want to incriminate me and dirty my tenancy. So it's a bully, it's an oppressor, it's a tyrant. My landlord, Thrive Homes, is a tyrant. So I prayed to God about this situation. I said, God, help me. What do I do? What would you do if you were me? And are you with me? And then God told me in my spirit, be very careful because of the evil times we live in. Remain with Thrive Homes. Don't leave. So that was my advice from the Holy Spirit, praying and reading the Bible. Don't move to another landlord because you've established 12 years with this company. And you can take them to court and have a compensation for all the damages, like £500 worth of 2 futons that are divided into cushions that are like an armchair or poof, like a futon, which turned into a single bed. And all of those foam cushions were used to soak up the floods, as it was impossible for me to use a mop and bucket. But now it's extremely difficult and painful. I can use the mop and bucket, but I cannot stand for no more. So I have to stop and start, sit down and start again. So it's very painful using a mop and bucket. And so the money given to me from occupational therapy to do a wet room and a refurbishment was rejected 6 years ago. They told me to go back to the occupational therapy assessment. It was rejected. They're a very cruel and terrible situation because they're not providing me any support. And if the support or help they give, it is to harm. And there's a trick and a trap attached to it. So for the example of not receiving the receipt for charity Grant Us a Smile, they provided me care. So it was care with charity. If there is a charity without care, it is useless. But since there was care and charity, it was useful. And so because they helped me, respectfully, Thrive Homes has decided to withhold the receipt and ignore the fact that we're equal of the aspect of my exploitation of paying for housing litigation in 2020, which liquidized for being dishonest. And so I never had my money back. So it's extremely dangerous to pay from my private pocket for a solicitor that can be liquidized and shut down. Or it can be racist or prejudiced or discriminatory, the very, very people I'm relying on as a thorn, a rose with a thorn, they would actually disservice me because of a minor personality disorder mental health services that have been imposed on me when my husband and I divorced from domestic abuse and when my husband 6 years later died. So that's the only reason why I went to mental health, and I was misdiagnosed. I'm currently going to PAL, PALS, to make a complaint against them and to see if they can remove the wrong information, such as schizophrenia. I've never had schizophrenia, so that's an administration error. I don't know where the hell it comes from, but it's always the one. There's always one corrupt individual within these systems, which are extremely dangerous. Is it Harry and Meghan and Markle, these criminals that have attacked me through the royal family, or somebody in the royal family had attacked me in these systems by using social media against me, which I had been on for 5 years? So 5 years is nothing compared to their 25 years or 35 years or 45 years or they're 65 years or they're 85 years. So they're experts at finding these loopholes to attack me and to put errors of information in there. And if I had known for one moment that she was going to be a devil's advocate, Samantha and Casey, I would have declined. So first of all, this Casey started writing general notes, listening to my telephone conversations, and I made inquiries. Why was she forcing me to do complaints against my will? And why was she writing all these negative words about my experience and said it was her logs, which she later transformed her logs of my private conversations with Thrive into real, genuine complaints. So then I queried that to the management of complaints, who's Casey, and said, I want you to drop my case, Casey. And is it a coincidence that her name, Casey Wright, surname, it was the same as Michelle Wright, who reported me under Section 20 to kidnap my daughter in 2014 year, which was also unlawful. They wrote lies after lies, and they said they have legal rights to discriminate against people and disrespect people who are captured within systemic abuse for murder, for wrong diagnosis and wrong treatment, which is a torture and a human rights abuse. So once you are working as a service user within mental health NHS, they instantly strip you off of your civil rights and your human rights, freedom of speech, freedom of movements, all freedoms, your freedom to buy, to purchase and to sell, all of that has been totally destroyed and vandalised and violated your privacy laws. So they say they have an automatic right in court for me to be sleeping in a court case, to be even sleeping with a judge, or it's so disgusting that they believe, as corrupt police officers and corrupt officials, they have a right to put a secret spy in my loft. Last night I was going through YouTube and an advertisement popped up. So for example, I was going to use my bag, which is made of straw, as a pillow. Instantly, an advert popped up and said, do you want to purchase a pillow? I took a screenshot of that. So it's abuse. They are spying for me from the loft. They've got secret cameras in the loft that are spying on me, and they have been doing this illegally, and they're saying I'm mad and making it up. So I'm very suspicious of Elaine Kelleher, Todd Grande, Gordon Ramsay, Hillary Clinton, Thomas Sowell, all Donald Trump supporters, and Times Radio. I'm very suspicious because they know that somebody is oppressing me and my civil rights for privacy, my rights for privacy, my rights. All these rights have been destroyed because of a minor personality disorder, which they have somehow put wrong information to say that I'm now schizophrenic. They're the ones who are schizophrenic and psychopaths. So they've also begrudged me of my food in the sense that I have to pay all these bills, which they have invaded, also all my bills. I'm in credit with BT, and I went on to a default. I did ask to have the right to be forgotten. It's called information erasure after paying my last bill. But the enemy who is spying on me has got in there. The BT, they had gone into this corporate business, had swapped and changed and sold their business to other thing. And I contacted BT about 3 or 4 months ago, or from February month this year, 2025. I made inquiries and I said, BT, can you let me know why you still have my account details backdated to 2 years? Can you go further? No, the corrupt government has stopped them having 5 years of information. It's only 2 years of information. So the thing that I need the most, they have blocked, conveniently to suit the criminals and the corrupt government, which I'm anti-corruption, but they've done it deliberately. So they're making rules and laws to suit false governments who are actually gangsters and who are actually sociopaths and psychopaths. And so it's very bad that this is happening. And so BT gave me information, which I have a record of on my memory card, that said, I don't owe them anything, I paid the last bill, but they're imposing it systemically as a system of abuse to say that I still have to pay the early termination fee of leaving BT after being with them for a year, because an Emirate of Arabs, foreign countries, had in fact invaded my account and all my emails. Yep, and my Face ID, my date of birth, my voice ID, all of that has been stolen. And it has been enabled by Donald Trump supporters, enabled by Hillary Clinton supporters, enabled by Joe Rogan and Joe Biden and all of this crap individuals who've crapped on me because they know that they could do it. There's no law that says that they can't do it. Therefore, they target the poor and the most vulnerable. So not only do I have international government, I also national government and international government targeting and calling me a troll, calling me a goblin. I'm not part of the Labour government. Neither am I a part of the far right government or the far left government. Far left government, the left-wing government is a goblin and the right-wing government is a troll. So all of them are very bad. And terrorists, domestic and social terrorists, they're spying on my emails. It's Elaine Kelleher, child social worker, German Nazi shite, who had said that all abused children become abusers as adults. And now they're accusing me of being a terrorist, when in fact they're the ones who are the terrorists. So she retired. She has all the time in the world to destroy my rest, my sleep. So I had told Thrive Homes I don't want to complain. I do want to remain with Thrive Homes and go to a different office, which is because it's I'm not a 3-year-old. I don't need this vandalism. So they're saying it's an accident, what's happened in the loft, the water that gushed down from a bad boiler. Even though I pre-warned them, prevention is better than cause. They've deliberately protected a criminal who's made it look like an accident to go up there and bust the pipes and destroy their own property and then blame it on me. So this is what they're doing. And it is terrorism. So it's also, I'm not safe or secure. I'm not safe or secure because of the situation. And they're denying me to remove this Casey and Samantha I have done nothing wrong, and they're forcing me for them to be my advocate. They're going to speak on my behalf. They're the ones who are going to remove disinformation. They're going to speed up the process after a whole month of doing absolutely nothing at all. And so because they left me hanging as a hangman. So it's more than an oppressor. It's more than a bully. It's a criminal. So I don't understand. How has this happened that these criminals are having professional titles? The political whores are having professional titles. How is it that the married couples have more importance and more value in society compared to single women such as me, who's more intelligent, more beautiful, because I have more morals and because I have more character, compared to them who are soulless, they have no conscience, they have no shame, they would eat you alive, they're a man-eater. They would steal your soul, steal your identity, steal your ideas for creativity because you have no money in your bank. And so I'm asking the question in this video, titling it, is my life as a British citizen in poverty worse than the Palestinians in Israel? Palestinians are suffering because they have to walk too far to get food and water. They have to wake up too early in the morning. They have to put up with the noise of constant weapons. And Palestinians and also Jews, both Arabs, both related cousins, are having constant war, constant abuse. And I'm saying, is my life worse than them because they can publicize it and have people sympathize with them, while I, on the other hand, I'm paying to be disserviced? Ben Shapiro is another one. I'm paying a new internet, which is TalkTalk. I'm paying them. And because I have no blue eyes and my face is slightly bigger and I'm slightly more bloated because of the ill treatments and not having any cure, not having any medicine or aids that I need to recover, they're giving me wrong medicine that's actually making me more inflamed and making worse. So you have two options. When you have a flu, for example, you can either dry it up or you can get it out of your system, or you can dry it up in your system. What would you choose? I would choose to get it out, put my head under a towel and breathe in hot steam to get all that mucus out and get rid of the bug and the bacteria. I would want it to come out rather than have it in. So there are options of what type of medication you have and what's going to be best to cure your conditions, such as a bacteria. I have a rotavirus in my stomach. I was denied antibiotics. I had to go to many different doctors and all of them are politicians. Why don't they all call themselves politicians rather than, don't call them any other various title. Just only call them politicians because that's what they are. They're liars, they're robbers, and because they violate vulnerable people in their hospital bed, they're worse than Hamas. They're the same as Hamas. So they're the worst hypocrites. They say, well, Hamas is so bad, and Bin Laden is so bad, and Bin Laden had caused September 11th. No, it was an inside job. They're the ones who purchased for that. They wanted to destroy the banking system for September 11 so that they can make a new digital money system in the competition of having digital money, which is a destiny according to the Bible. We are destined to have digital money, and all types of paper money will be rubbished. But the trouble is, this destiny, whose hand is it in? So the scepter of progress for the future is in the wrong hands. The destiny, which is holy, is corrupted in the wrong hands of those who abuse power and who are selfish and greedy, who only think about their own protections. So I'm not a journalist. I'm only going out to the public to say the hidden crimes, protected children's social services who are the child abusers, those who are above the law, and wrong accusations. They outnumber, overpower, overtake. They cause an injury, they cause an injustice, they're destroying too much, they're betraying too much, so therefore they're overrated. They've made chaos. They are terrifying to me. They've made crazy chaos. They are erratic. And it is tragic that they had put pressure on me to pay my rent, even though I did not have to pay my rent. Yeah, here we go, the bullet points. Outstanding payment. You promised to pay the rent. I said, I'm paying the rent through the full housing benefit. What are you talking about? So what they want is to delete all my evidence, do a cancel culture, delete my full housing benefit, council tax, and my eligible state benefits, and put that money towards the defence of the United Kingdom, according to Keir Starmer, in the scales of appeasing my bullies. So they want to use that money for weapons of massive destructions, and they also want to remove the money given to the education system for weapons of mass destruction. So I have a handwritten note here from a fire brigade. It says, I hope this finds you well. Rickmansworth Fire Station have just visited to try to arrange a home visit for a safety check. I already had a safety check. And the alarm says, this is the revenge for J. Julian Miller, because I used to write him handwritten letters. It's a demon. He proposed to marry me after I divorced and during my domestic abuse, set up by government and Wendy Holden, industrial finishers Watford, who is satanic. I declined to have his marriage or be his engaged fiancé. I declined to give him my phone number after a one-off kiss. He stripped me like this and took my breast milk by force. He works with corrupt police officers who have stalked me for 20 years, and they're still on my case called Phil. Who is Phil that works at Hertfordshire Constabulary? I want to know. Because even if he is on my side, I'm against him. Because I was told he had group sex in 2010 by a woman who stole my phone number through a police station to tell me that she's having group sex with two men in order for her to destroy my life. I don't know who this woman is. Is Phil and Helen? Is it their real names or false names? Since they got involved during my divorce in a one-off kiss, I did not have sex with him. My entire life had been destroyed, and my civil rights, which the government had enabled. So this is the revenge for J. Julian Miller. Handwritten note. So first of all, I phoned them up and I said, what is this? Can you tell me what this is? I already had a safety check on the 24th of April 2025. So it's a pervert and obscurance of justice. Anyone who likes me will be told that I'm dangerous, I'm schizophrenic, and that I am ugly, I'm a horrible person. It's a defamation. And it's very sad what they've done. So after they told me a positive report, which was true, they also made a negative report, which is full of lies. And that has destroyed my tenancy, according to Casey Wright in Hemel Hempstead office of Thrive Homes. So it's a criminal. I'm going to give their full address. Thrive Homes, West Side, London Road, Hemel Hempstead, HP3 9T for Tango, D for Delta. That's their address. So I'm being held captive and hostage by Casey Wright, who's removed my voice, removed my civil rights, and removed my tenancy, which was clean. I had no problem. I had not broken the tenancy agreement. I had not done anything wrong, and they had made it look as if I'm the bad one here. I'm the one who's doing everything wrong and breaking their terms and conditions, which I'm not. And so as a result, they've made me in this property for 12 years have homelessness. So no bathroom facility. I fell over twice. I had a report, and I recorded the report of the occupational therapist because I said the trust is broken. And I had to record it because the trust was broken and because it's a hostile environment, gossipers, slanderers, blasphemers, and grievance of the Holy Spirit. So that's why I reported them. It's a home invasion. So the very ones who are helping me are also harming me. And they're making me have this homelessness that even a person who has murdered someone in prison has better sanitation conditions than I have. They removed my free services for rubbish collection. It's an exploitation. I want to take the council to court. I want to take the Tribe Homes to court. I want to take the corruption of my disinformation and the theft of my social media, which I am paying for. They're saying that my benefit money is not money. My money belongs to the government, so they can do whatever the hell that they want. The first one on there would be Todd Grande and Elaine Kelleher, who would come and open the door, the loophole, through my old email where they sent me a contract for my new internet provider, which is TalkTalk. So they said they were calling me back. They never called me back because it's still not properly working. One of the blue cables is missing, so I cannot connect my landline, so that my landline is not working. So they want me to pay for a service and argue my case for a compensation, which is extremely stressful. I don't want to be arguing, and I don't want to be in a position, even if I had the best argument in the world, I don't want to be in a position of having to argue. I just want them to do their jobs right. So what I mean by argument, and I'm going to put this out, pause, it's disturbing my normal sensitivities, my normal senses, my 5-6 senses. It's being overtaken by a host, and I'm a hostage, and it's an abuse of power. It's witchcraft. So it's a witch hunt against the corrupt police, against the corrupt fire station in Rickmansworth, against all corruption everywhere. There's always the one individual. So in my rest, I have holy revenge. In my trust in God, as a devout Christian woman who is not an adulterer, I don't take creative drugs, never. So in my trust, through that trust, anybody, children, adults, man or woman, even those who have been sexually raped, physical rape, in the anus hole. So if it's a woman and you've been raped in your bumhole without your consent, and it was done by force, you are now LGBT, you are now a sex fluid, you are now without sex as the angels, who don't have, similar to the angels, they don't have a sexual identification. They become asexual, or you are bisexual by force, by torture, so it's a torture. So therefore, you're also included if you are a humble sinner. I sympathise with them. I don't sympathise with people who are LGBTQ that deliberately choose to have sex in the bumhole, man or woman, boy or girl. So it's an a-hole. That hole is supposed to be used for poop, not for sex. So they would put poo in your vagina. They would go and invade your privacy while you're on a toilet, and they would masturbate over you while you use the public toilet, which is a privacy violation. So emotional support, this video is not about emotional support, it's about the facts of human rights abuse and how this country, United Kingdom, England, is 10 times worse than Israel, because it's better to die quickly than to die slow, painful death. But we shouldn't be dying at all, it should be the criminals that are dying quickly. So this is where things have gone wrong. So they're not authorities, they're not governments, they're a fraud. They're not even professional, they should all be called politicians, because they're breaking the law and cover up their crimes. So they make murder look like an accident. They make the flooding in my ceiling through the bad tank that had exploded look like it's an accident. Oh, it happens commonly. It does not happen commonly, particularly when you have subcontractors checking it out 3 or 4 times a year and making sure it works properly. So it's organised crime in order to cause a crisis and then turn that crisis into a misfortune by using disinformation to attack my tenancy, to kick me out of my own home where I've lived for 12 years. So I'm making it public. I'm against their office. They should have an elephant shit on their desk, in their bed, an elephant shit in their baths, because that's what they've done to me. And that's why I'm doing this video. And I'll never forget it. I want this video to be passed on to other tenants who are having the same situation and are too afraid to speak out. So I think it's disgusting and disgraceful that Todd Grande and Elaine Kelleher connected in his DVD makings as a psychologist who is not a professional psychiatrist, who is having freedom from the police to steal my information and turn it into something else or something similar, to abuse me. And this is what's happening. They're making films out of my life, getting ideas out of my life for them to prosper, to thrive, and to be thrilled. While I, on the other hand, also want to make horror films. I also want to strive for human rights protections and strive for civil rights, not only for the working class, for the unemployed, sick and disabled. So I'm striving forward in the hard way while they have it easy. It's too easy for them to do. So this is the holy revenge through rest and trusting in God against disinformation and all the negativities in the dictionary. That's right. The unholy type of war never gives you rest, and you can never trust anyone. Even their own tables, they are cursed and condemned by God. So they want to force their guilt and their shame on the innocent, which is satanic. So I have certain supporters. I cannot prove the spy in the loft. I don't have anyone to go there for me on my behalf. A lot of the people I have got, my nearest relative is in Cambridge. They don't care about me because it's about the money. They want the money. And they want their own human worshippers. So they're toxic tyrants. So if there is a toxic tyrant, there must be a good tyrant too. There must be. So Palestinians may not like me because I said that my life is worse than theirs in England as a legal migrant. I'm not migrant, I'm British, but I'm forced to be called a migrant, even though I've lived here since I was 6 years old. I'm worse off than them because I'm constantly defamed by antisocial thugs and feeling an odd one out in society as a result of a marginalised society. Marginalised, I don't have anybody, not a single person. And I'm glad to say that in public, not because I'm stupid, but because I want to show how deep, dark and dangerous corruption is, how they're targeting the most vulnerable. In Citizens Advice Bureau, they're overseeing that. In every charity, they oversee who helps me in order to harm whoever helps me. If I have found a lover, they would attack his business and make our romance suddenly become very sad. And that we always have to run away and flee from the enemy who wants to destroy everything. So there's no equality under the Equality Act. We don't have that right. It's only there for LGBTQ. I've noticed that. I've made comments regarding that of anyone who's coming across as a helper to say that it's religious persecution. It's persecuting us the most as Christians. So it's not only about the Jews. It's not only about the Arabs. What about the white Europeans, such as me, who are persecuted Christians, who have noticed these subtle changes, such as not being able to have Christmas in Israel because it offends the Jew Arab and the Muslim Arab. And at the same time, they expect us to give them charity, and they insult us and spit at us. Why should I give you charity when you insult and spit on Christians? So I'm going to talk about the visible crisis. However, the invisible crisis, I will not publicise. I will only confront with my direct battle, face to face. I will confront them about it, the corrupt officials, regarding the invisible attacks. But I'm only looking, however, in this video, in closing, how they have done a character assassination, number 1. Number 2, disinformation. Number 3, disrespect. Dishonoured for some disinformation that everybody believes and is quick to listen to lies and loves lies, hates the truth. Number 4, discrimination, deliberate discrimination. They have legal rights to discriminate against me, and disinformation and disrespect. Number 5, domination by mental health assessments. It should be the other way around. They should be scrutinised and reapproached as criminals and as false professionals, false governments when they're gangsters. Number 6, they make excuses and delays. And number 7, prevention is not better than cause. They abuse the Equality Act, and they're very cruel. And number 8, bad influence. Number 9, perversion and obscurance of justice, which is demonic and a witchcraft. So, praise God from the rooftop. Raise God's praise to the roof. So they don't like it when I sing, and when I have a party, which is very rare, maybe once in every 6 years, when I'm singing, they don't like it. When I'm laughing, they think I'm mad. But it's okay for them to praise their devil God, who is the devil, from the roof and the ceiling. So they've taken their Bible and taken it to the synagogue of Satan and transformed it with the chanting and their disgusting laughter, their disgusting and despicable, disgraceful parties. And they've done it to glorify the devil using the Bible. So many people are put off Christianity because of the political Zion today that exists. Real Zion only exists in the spirit and in the persecuted Christians. It does not exist anywhere else. So it does exist in all persecuted people, not only the Christians. In all persecuted people, including Palestinians, who love and trust God. But he is not only the God of the Creator. It is the devil who says that God is only the Creator. God is much more than a Creator. It is the devil, the serpent that told the snake, did the Creator tell you not to do this? Satan did not say, did God tell you to do this? So the devil, the rebel angel, will want to undermine the authority and the voice of God's servants and the saints. For Satan will want to undermine our authority in Christ, will want to remove God Almighty and make us weak, make us vulnerable. And they're saying that all vulnerable people are cursed, which is a lie. They're saying that all people who are abused cannot be happy, and they choose abusive work partners and life spouses as abusers. That's also untrue. I don't love abusers. I would not choose to work or to live with an abuser. That was a one-off mistake. Most people have a divorce in their lives, and I only had one divorce, one serious relationship that lived with me for 4 years, and that's it. I'm not boasting in the fact that I made myself clean in every way. God made me clean. I didn't make myself clean. Yeah, so I'm like a virgin again, basically. And they're saying, why do you behave like a child? No. I have had a lot of physical pain, so therefore I have lost my voice, and my voice sounds squeaky like a child. And I have had a lot of emotional and physical pain, and had a lot of problems to deal with on my own. So therefore I'm a lone survivor. I don't need this. I don't need politicians, governors and royalists flaunting and boasting and gloating over me, lording over me. Go and gloat and go and take your maliciousness and your troublemaking somewhere else. Go and pick on someone your own size, you moron, you bitch and bastard, you pervert and obscurance of justice. They're always targeting the most vulnerable and calling us a curse. No, you're ugly. No, you're the curse. It's the other way around. So it's an unfair competition and challenge, and they know it. Putin knows it, and all of them that would want to bomb the shit out of the poor, put us in an early grave so that they can make money. So this is what this video is about, my acknowledgement, how and why they target us to make money. There's money in it. There's money in dead corpses that they can sell. They can make more houses. They can put a family here, which is to add insult to my injury and force me to move out of my own home. So I want to move. The main reason is because I have no bathroom facilities at work. It's constantly leaking, so therefore it's a deadlock. I can't use it. For 12 years I've lived here. Even if I wasn't disabled physically with my spine conditions going flopped, even if that wasn't the case, the bathroom would still be a disaster zone because of the floor not being concreted properly. And it goes from one ear or the other. They refuse to listen. They refuse to provide me a wet room or aids to be able to hold on. They've put the handlers and the aid grip rails in the wrong side. I told them I wanted it. They said the doors were out in the way, so I can't have it where I want it. They put the rails in the wrong place. Idiots. So it's useless to me. I can't even use anything. I can only use it to go to the toilet. So it's using bowls and buckets and flannels and towels to wash myself for the most recent 3 years, and backdated to 2013. It's been a total disaster. And he asked me, who was Adrian, the landlord, how many bottles I use, why do I have so many shampoos and soaps, and how long do I take in my shower? So he is a Nazi sympathiser. He's a tyrant sympathiser. They're cowards. It's so easy for them to sympathise and to appease tyrants rather than condemn tyrants. and imprison the war criminals. They would rather promote them. So they're the ones who are destroying civilization. Cowards, stupid idiots, useful idiots, and adulterers. These three types are tax-paying and destroying civilizations by putting tyrants to make everybody suffer, particularly the most vulnerable. So when it says here, call out God's name, so they have a smear campaign and defamation to destroy somebody's reputation because they hate God's name, which is Mima Hapunch. I'm also formerly known as Maya Maria Marina Nikolic. They've stolen my account, which is mimagrebe.happy@gmail.com, connected probably to Todd Brande, the Royal Wee Kevin, the zombie, Gordon Ramsay, or what's his name, Elton Musk. I don't know who he is, but some of them, one of them, someone that I don't even know, had destroyed my internet because Putin kept attacking it. So they've deliberately put me on the path of Putin, who also said hello to me in a messenger of Facebook. And I followed him because I found out my father followed him, who's not really my father. Anyone who supports me in scrutinizing my father and condemning my father and my mother, who had abandoned me in a foreign country as a child, not any foreign country, but the country of my enemy, who was NATO, who destroyed my country, my soil, was for 6-7 years we couldn't plant anything in the soil because of the weapons disposed on our country, which is former Yugoslavia, and they've divided our country. Many of my people have become Nazis themselves, collaborated and joined forces with Nazis. So many of my people I'm against, many of my people I'm for, who are wanting to rebuild our country. So I prefer Montenegro from Serbia, where my mother comes from. How my mother tried to kill me, she used to hit me over the head with high heels until it bled. She used to force me to go and cross big roads on my own when I was 6 and 7 years old, where I nearly died in a road traffic accident. So they're not my parents. So my parents are not my, even though that they're biologically my parents, they are spiritually not my parents because they don't behave as parents. Even though my neighbours are my neighbours through the physical documentation, they're actually not my neighbours because there's more to it. They've enabled my stalkers to enter their properties and my stalkers to remove my civil rights. Who's a fascist, socialist, feminist, horrible Children's Social Services, Elaine Callagher and Jenny Jones, in Hemel Hempstead's office in 2014, they said child abused become abusers. They don't. And so they've made this propaganda, they've made this smear campaign, they've made a stereotype. The same as you say, Indians, they all smell bad because they all have too much spice. That's not true. It's a stereotype, stigma attached to the Indian to say that they all do it. The statistics say that. However, we don't know the exact statistics of how many Indians use too much spice in their cooking, for example. You don't know how many abused people from abused childhood become abusers because there's not correct statistics about, for example. So why would she treat me as a number? Why would she treat me as a statistic rather than a person? So it's very bad that the taxpayers are paying these children's social services to kidnap our children and target the children of the migrants and the poorest. It's also very bad to say that I can never recover from my health deterioration. I have to remain weak physically and mentally forever. And I want to clarify that in the public to say that the council is there supposed to have improvement noticed. My request was there recently, which they're probably ignoring and probably will reject and deny my request because she's already spoken to this crappy Casey Wright. And it's no coincidence that they both have the same surname, Michelle Wright, who is the worst hypocrite. They were all divorced 3 or 4 times and are giving birth to the witch's children and the pervert children, and they're accusing a dead man of being a pervert, so my daughter belongs to the dead man devil. I have nothing to do with his death. So they respect the dead man devil, saying that my daughter is the child of the dead man devil rather than the living parent. God is the God of the living, not of the dead. Even though God has the keys to life and death, both, God is the God, head, all-powerful in the living, not in the dead. So they've put feet under my net. Yep, they've put some type of a trap on my back. And there is a blistering wind for the devil versus a wind for God in the air, even in the air. So this is how they're frustrating me. And I pray that God finds a way to frustrate them with this video, to say, what are they doing in this email address? Stolen. So many of my emails have been stolen, but the one I have left, which I passed on to, in closing this video, to Talk, I told them, do not put my contract in the email. What did they do? They probably emailed my contract. And I told them not to. I said, put it in the post, because I was crying my eyes out, saying I have a stalker, a bad spy, Nazis, they're all in my account, tracking and tracing me to corrupt this account, which is supposed to be protecting. I'm trying to protect while they're attacking it even more so by disservice. So every time I pay, I'm not paying Talk, I'm paying Ben Shapiro, I'm paying Benjamin Netanyahu, I'm paying the King of England, I'm paying King Charles or somebody else, what's his name, Harry and Meghan Markle, and it's not my account, it's their account. What the hell is this? So even when I call from my phone, which I have paid by installment, that too has been taken over by, I don't know who, but it's been taken over by many who are saying that I now have to work with Hamas in order to destroy the Nazi terrorists, the fascists. And I'm saying they're both the same thing, if not worse. They're saying that Hamas is even worse than Hitler. So it's very sad that this is a case. Do you have a stock syndrome? What's it called, stock syndrome, after being taken hostage? Not Down syndrome, but the other one. So I found myself shaking, I'm flustered, I don't know where I am, I lost sleep, too much as a result, in closing this video, bad side effects for using the internet. So if anyone wants to check out my other channel, which is Pennypot, Honeypot, there's a number following that, which I haven't told the number. Maybe I will in the future, when I'm established. So in conclusion, is my life worse off than asylum seekers, refugees, in poverty claiming state benefits as British? And the answer is yes. Because they have marked me as a British citizen to beat me up emotionally and physically and destroy my civil rights because they had left the European Union, so therefore they can make rules and policies as they go along to suit the criminals. And they've duplicated their systems, which I am talking about in this video. They've duplicated it in order to cover up their crimes. I'm closing now as Maya Maria, also known as Mima. a punch. A punch. Poop. May God poop on them and no one can wipe it off.